Cleaning and sweeping for most Ghanaians are part of the socialization process as it is learned through observation. Only a few people can say they were taught or intentionally learned how to sweep. The home environment acts as a reservoir for bacteria carrying antimicrobial resistance, AMR. In the home environment, dust may act as a major carrier and may be a possible source of antimicrobial resistance bacteria. To some extent, this is driven by local practices such as cleaning and sweeping within the household, as well as other environmental factors. For a larger percentage of cleaners, the concentration of the act of cleaning is mainly in the open spaces or where the eye can easily see, to the neglect of the more hidden areas, especially corners of rooms, be it the bedroom, kitchen, the living area, or the washrooms. Cleaning and sweeping is done in the visible areas, leaving the unregularly cleaned to develop dust bunnies. Dust bunnies are small clumps of dust that form under furniture and in corners that are not cleaned regularly. They are made of hair, lint, dead skins, dust, and sometimes light rubbish and debris held together by immobile energy and felt like entanglement. These dust bunnies can house dust mites. The movement of a single particle can start the formation of a dust bunny. Dust bunnies are different from cobwebs.
Everywhere in the home they are found. Once there are places in any of the rooms that your broom is not touching on a regular basis, they are formed there. Sometimes cobwebs get entangled with the dust and then form the bunnies. But cobweb is just a thread-like weaving of the spider. So most often it's high up on the ceiling or on the wall. But the dust bunny are formed on the ground. They appear normal, but they could be dangerous because they contain bacteria. And we realize that over time, some of them contribute to resistance, bacteria resistance to drugs, because we use some antibacterials in our cleaning and then they interact with it and get adapted to it and they become resistant, so that when it gets into a human being, then it becomes very difficult to treat. That is where it gets dangerous to mostly young children who are crawling, picking things on the ground. They usually get infections through interacting with the dust bunny. The thoroughness of the sweeping. We don't leave things to sweep under them often. So those are the areas that the dust bunny gathers. One of the bacteria that we found so far is called Shigella, and that can transmit diarrhea diseases. So you realize that yes, there are some danger involved depending on how we come into contact and handle the dust bunnies. Anybody can get infection from any bacteria that are found in the dust bunny, but the kids are the most at risk. That is why they are the easier reference.
Antimicrobial resistance, AMR, is now a global problem that impacts human health across all demographics. But little investment in the development of new antibiotics in the past few decades has been initiated. With an increase in infection comes an increase in drug resistance due to overuse or misuse of antibiotics. Alternative approaches must be found to help prevent the effectiveness of existing antibiotics. Unfortunately, most studies on antimicrobial resistance are focused on the hospital settings. It is in the light of these that the research was conducted in 4 suburbs in the national capital, with Abokobi and Ayi Mensah representing those in the poor bracket, Medina, the working or lower income class, Adenta served as the middle class, with North and West Legon serving as the upper income class. These communities fall under the 4 socioeconomic structures of the Ghana Statistical Services. 250 households were involved. The impact of dust and dust bunnies are what researchers from Noguchi and their counterparts from the Lancaster University in the UK set out to look into.
And we're looking in houses at the dust that accumulates during the day in domestic dwellings, and looking at the bacteria which sit on the dust, which are potentially germs and can cause disease. On top of that, we're looking at the antimicrobial resistance that they may carry. So if they cause a disease, it might make them really difficult to treat. And what we want to do is intervene in these houses, see if we can look at cleaning practices, see if we can change them, intervene, and actually reduce the number of pathogens and antimicrobial resistance you find in those houses. Ghana again is an African country, and we can use the information that we get within Ghana and hopefully translate it across to other countries within the African continent as well. So although we're working in Ghana, our results are much more widespread.
As designers, we have the social responsibility to engage in public health and to design for good and well-being. Furthermore, design, like biology, has the ability to shift through enormous amounts of information and provide clarity that allows you to see things from a different angle, see them differently. Things that either pre-exist or things that we reinvent and create. And this is exactly what we're aiming to do with the Dust Bunny project. Ghana, like many other African countries, is also facing the issue with antimicrobial resistance.
As with most research, it came with some challenges.
The challenge has to do with people conscious of security, their safety, so they are not sure to open their doors to strangers who are research assistants collecting the data to observe how they clean, and also they think that you are observing them, you are judging them. They were worried of being judged. So yes, that you are coming to judge their hygiene practices and those things. So it was difficult for some of them to open their doors.
The research in its first year is in line with the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs 3, which supports ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being for all at all ages, and calls for looking at complexities of health rather than in isolation, and an end to preventable deaths of newborns and children under 5 years of age. Already, the country is spending billions of dollars in the health sector over antimicrobial resistance AMR.
If we're talking about sustainable health, then we need to deal with this aspect of it, because then we are exposing ourselves into danger, into health risk in our homes. I will suggest that we develop some form of standardization. For instance, if you are cleaning your toilet, what are the detergents you need and how do you clean it? How do you clean the kitchen? How do you clean the bathhouse? Then when we do that, we can't get rid of this dust bunny and associated bacteria. So let's set time for those difficult areas to sweep, that we will sweep them, they will not be there forever. Then we can use it to educate our population, especially for me as a person in schools and in churches and in mosques, so that people can begin to see the value of cleaning their houses.
It is expected that at the end of the 2 years research, the outcome will help experts to come up with concrete solutions on how to eliminate diseases transmission associated with dust and dust bunnies, to prevent deaths and reduce costs to the health sector, and also recommend the right detergents for use in our sweeping and cleaning cultures in the various room types in homes.